Previously on Balls.
Very happy to have Mark Kourie in studio with me. How's it, Mark?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Mic on. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Now, I met Mark ages ago and asked him like 21 questions, I think the first time I met you, because I was so interested in, what it's like being a caddy on the Pro Tour. Maybe you can start by telling us how you got into it.
I mean, basically, I've just been interested in golf, from about 15 years old, and always wanted to go to the States on a golf scholarship. And eventually that dream came true when I was about 20 years old, and played golf there, and then graduated in 2010, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I was just messing around in the States there and playing golf. And one of the girls asked me if I would like to go caddy for her on the tour, and I thought, wow, I mean, I'm not a caddy, but I can try.
And is
So-
this one of, who, when you say one of the girls, who are you talking about?
Well, the first girl that I caddied for, her name was Frances Bondad, and she played on the Ladies European Tour. So
Okay.
from the States, I went to Europe and traveled, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 countries there.
Wow. And what
Um,
nationality, what was her name? Did you
Her
say?
name is Frances Bondad.
Frances.
Yeah, and she was from Australia.
Okay.
And then that was just a few months, and that was just real fun, that was just like in between kind of thing.
Okay.
And then one of her friends was in the States, and I always wanted to be back in the States. So
Okay.
she got hold of her, and she plays on the LPGA tour, which is,
The big US tour.
yeah. So I contacted her, and she said fly down to Florida and visit me, and I did. And she said, sure, we'll start up in like a month's time, and that was it, just so quick.
And who was her friend?
Her friend's name is Hayley Kang.
Hayley Kang.
Yeah, she's one of the Korean girls, as you know. There's a lot of Korean girls on the tour.
They're brilliant at golf.
Yeah, they are. So, that's as a caddy, that's always a good bag to get on, because they always up there at the top.
And how good is she? What's her ranking?
At the moment in the world, I think she's about 38th in the world. So
Okay.
it's nice to caddy. It's nice to be around the top of the field.
The top players in the world.
Yeah, and some big crowds following you and stuff like that. It's pretty exciting.
So do the crowds follow the LPGA?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I don't know how many people there are, but it's, I don't know, from Thursday to Sunday, you're probably looking at between 50 and 100,000 people throughout the week. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of people.
Wow. So then you signed up with her, and then is it a case of you just follow her, and where she flies off to, you fly with her?
Yep, 100%. It's pretty much about 34 weeks of the year.
34 weeks of the
Yeah,
year. Wow.
so I mean, and it's Monday to Sunday,
What do you do when they're not playing a tournament?
Well, that's the nice thing about being a caddy is when you have a week off or 2 weeks off in between tournaments, it's basically whatever you want to do.
Okay,
And
so you're not
it's-
there at the driving range, or
No, you go back home to wherever you are
Okay.
and just chill out with your family or your girlfriend or whatever the case is.
Okay, all right.
And do what you like to do, but they go back home and they got to practice. So
And you can chill.
yeah, and we just kick back and do whatever we want.
Okay. And now, you must work really closely with these, the people that you're working with. Like, did you get on with her? Was it an instant connection, or was it a relationship that had to develop? I mean, they kind of rely on you, and they have to, I guess, you'd have to have some kind of, bond together.
Yeah, no, definitely. Caddying and playing a caddy and a player is all about connection. I mean, it's either instant or it's not really. Especially if you're starting out with a girl, and ours was just instant. I mean, I've caddied for her for 2 years now,
Wow. Okay.
and right from the first tournament that I caddied for her, I mean, I wasn't a professional caddy or anything like that, but we just got along, and she allowed me to, gain experience as we went along. I made mistakes. She helped me, and the next thing, 2 years, it passed by.
Sure.
Yeah.
And tell me, what makes a good caddy?
Well, I guess everybody's a little different, but from my side, it's just really keeping the player under control on the golf course,
Okay.
keeping her calm, talking to her, finding stories and stuff like that to tell her, taking her mind off the game.
You're like half counselor, half coach.
No, I mean you more than that. It's like you look after her in every way. I make sandwiches for her. I mix her drinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know all about nutrition for her and all that kind of stuff. And then at the same time, you're a counselor, you're a psychologist, you everything. I mean, that's what makes it fun and exciting.
It's really not just carrying a bag, is it?
No, not at all. It's a lot of fun because some days are good, and you just sit back and watch. And then other days, she's having a hard time and she needs you there and to talk to her and help her and stuff like that. So every day is a different day, really, and every tournament's a different tournament.
And these are just, I mean, you picked up the skills as you went along. You just found out what works for her, what doesn't work for her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being a golfer helps.
Obviously,
but it's not everything for sure. You got to try and read her and understand her, and
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, and sometimes tough because you get the worst part about caddying is when you get a silent moment. When something's gone wrong and then there's just no one's talking to each other, and you have to learn how to break that ice very quickly, because either your round can go upwards or downwards very quickly.
From that silent moment.
Yeah,
I like that you call it the where it's kind of like the deciding factor of how things are going to go.
Exactly. It's very awkward, and you gotta. Those are the situations where you really gotta be on form and know how to get out of it. So yeah, I mean, that's what makes it interesting.
So you really do feel the pressure along with them. Like when they're having a good round, it's it's good for you, and when they're having a bad round, you feel it on your shoulders, and you've got to work a way to kind of pull them out of it.
Definitely. I mean, you're rolling with her. I mean, when things are going great, you feel it. You can feel it in your body, in your veins. I mean, you get just as pumped up as she does. I mean, there's 50,000 people watching you coming in. And you got to make a decision as to what club to hit and the right yardage and all that stuff. So I mean, I get just as nervous as she does. And then when things are not going well, I mean, it's kind of the same for me. All of a sudden, you start making mistakes, and I mean, you really got to.
And when she's not happy with you, does she ever tell you off if she's done? I don't know.
Well, I mean, every girl is different out there, and I've been around many other players that they tell their caddy off straight away.
Really?
And that's their way of fixing it, because once they do it, then both of them, they get over it, and
they're not keeping it in, bottling it in.
Yeah, but for us, both of us have such similar personalities. She's a really quiet, kind of shyish girl, keeps to herself, and we really in 2 years didn't have too many mishaps, I must say.
Oh, that's really nice.
And if there was a problem, you just apologize. I mean, that's what you do with girls. You just say two things. Either you're right
early.
or I'm
that's
sorry.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. We're chatting to Mark Kourie, who has been a caddy for 2 years on the US tour, the LPGA tour. We'll chat to you a little bit more about where you stay and kind of what the social side of the tour, and a little bit more about the traveling after Michael there with Faith, one of Mark's favorite songs, maybe?
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I love music, so anything goes for me.
Really? What kind of music?
I don't know. It really depends on what mood I'm in and which country I'm in as well.
So, I mean, you've seen the world?
Yes, I must say, our tour follows the good weather. So I haven't really experienced. I mean, I still want to experience like snow and all that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't complain too much about the fact you follow summer.
No, I think I've had about 3.5 years of summer now.
And you've got a good tan to prove it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I think I've been to like about 20 or 24 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been great.
And so, a favorite place, a favorite spot?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Is it everything, the postcards say it is?
Yeah, it is. And just, I guess everybody's different, but I like the rustic kind of feel and the surfing and the beaches and the, it's got everything. It's got the mountains, it's got the forests, it's got the beaches, it's so relaxed there too, So I wouldn't say that I'd live there, but it's definitely my favorite holiday.
But now you must know the States so well by now. If you were to live in the States, where would you live?
Well, it's a tough call. I'd have to between the East Coast and the West Coast. You know,
Yeah.
the East Coast is a little bit more friendly, and you know the weather's pretty good over there. And then the West Coast, California side, I mean, it's obviously very nice.
It's California, baby.
Everyone knows that, you know.
Yeah.
So but I would have to say where I live right now is North Carolina. And
Okay.
and I do love it there because I've been there for so long, and I found
The weather's good there.
the weather's good there, and the people are just
It's
fantastic.
kind of a southern friendliness.
Yeah,
Eh?
the Southern friend. I mean, anybody will invite you into their house for a meal. It doesn't matter who they are. So that's what I like the most. Yeah.
North Carolina. Okay.
Mm.
And tell me now, when you going around America and you touring with your pro golfer, I mean, do they put you up in hotels and do you socialize with the other caddies and like is there scandal between the caddies and the players? Like what's the gossip on the tour?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. To start out with, there is a lot of drama between players and caddies.
Really?
If anyone does anything wrong on the golf course or off the golf course, everybody knows about it. It's basically like one small family, you know. It's so
Do all female pros have male caddies?
yeah. I think there's a handful of lady caddies,
But
and I
men-
respect them big time because I mean those bags are pretty heavy, and these girls are just so strong. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Some of the girls' mothers caddy for them. There's 2 or 3 players that their moms
Sure.
caddy for them,
Yeah.
and they just go up the hills, down the hills. It's pretty impressive.
Okay.
But yeah, no. In terms of the like them putting us up and stuff like that, in America, they give us a base salary for the week,
Okay.
and we use that to pay for our accommodation and rental cars and stuff like that.
Okay.
But any international travel is on them, which is probably the best part of the job because you know you fly from one side of the world to the other side of the world, and it's all paid for, and you get paid on top of that. So
Oh, brilliant.
it's an unbelievable job.
And do most of the caddies know each other? And I mean, do you know a lot of the other caddies on the LPGA?
Yeah, it doesn't take you very long to get in the circle of things, and there's going to be some caddies that like you and some caddies that don't. But I
Is
must.
it quite a competitive environment between the caddies?
Yes, yeah, it
Is
is. I mean, I'd say there's probably 60% of the caddies that enjoy working for their players and nothing else phases them, and then there's the other 40% who are always like gunning for other players or other caddies' bags, you
Oh,
know.
really?
Yeah, and so like you kind of got to watch out for those guys.
That are trying to schmooze their way to.
Yeah, you
other
know,
players.
making up things and blah 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 about you and your player, and you're not doing
Oh
this
my
right.
word!
And yeah, so you
You've got to have your wits about you.
yeah, and then also the trust factor. I mean, if your player trusts you and stuff like that, then you know they're gonna be like, whatever, you know, I like him and he's fine.
Yeah.
But there's caddies that have been out there for over 10 years with one player,
Sure.
and then there's caddies that out there and players that change every week. So it's
Yeah.
it's a wide variety. You don't really know what's going on, and you got to be on your tippy toes all the time.
But the backstabbing. I
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
So it's quite unique that you managed to like have this good relationship with your pro, and it's continued for 2 years. I mean, she must feel quite fortunate to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I got very lucky, and I guess she got lucky too, because that's what all the players on the tour are looking for is
Stability.
a solid caddy who's going to be there for them no matter what. You know, that's going to do everything for them, and everything's going to be fine. And some players battle to find that, especially the younger players. And then the older, more experienced players are the ones that know exactly what they're looking for.
Sure.
So yeah, it's been
And
nice.
your pro is a Korean lady, and tell me, what was her story? Like, how did she come from Korea and make it on the LPGA?
I mean, it's a long story, but
Okay.
I'll cut it short. But
Just-
those Koreans are unbelievable. They find out what they want to do when they're a young age. The parents are like, okay, you good at this, and that's what you're gonna do. And that's what happened to her. She picked up a golf club, and her parents were like, wow, you're really good at this. This is what you're going to do. She was 10 years old, and her mother was sent off to Australia. And she finished school in Australia
So that she could play golf.
so that she could play golf with her mom. They didn't see their dad and her husband for 5 years.
Wow.
And then from there, they went to New Zealand from 17 to 19, and still didn't see her dad. And then from there, they flew. Her dad sold up his business and everything in Korea, and they met in America. They hadn't seen each other.
To now support this daughter who's going to support the family with her golf.
Yeah, and they hadn't seen each other for about 7 years.
Wow.
And they just arrived in another country, and they're like, right, we're going to make it, you know.
How's that for pressure? Hey?
Yeah, and so she got out there and she got going at like some golf academy there, and practicing hard every day, all day. Dad's pretty hard on her.
Wow.
And now today she's making, I don't know, between $500,000 and $1 million a year.
Sure. But she's not enjoying like mini bries with her friends on the weekend, or like
no.
She's not watching like the Revenge box set in the evening.
No, she's practicing, and then she's working out, and then eating nicely at night and going to bed every night, whether she's on holiday or not. I think a lot of the players chill out towards the end of the year. Like over Christmas and stuff, they do sit back and see some friends and have some family time, but pretty much for 11 months of the year, it's just golf.
Oh, jeez, what discipline! But I guess that's what it takes.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I was making $1 million a year, I would also be doing it too.
Yeah, I don't know. And last question I want to ask you is: so you've got Tiger Woods and the Ernie Elses. Like, what difference does their caddy make? I mean, what percentage is it caddy and is it caddy versus player? Would you say? I mean, does it make a difference?
It does make a big difference. I think any caddy or player that you speak to, or anyone that knows about the game, will tell you that having a caddy, a good caddy on your bag, does make a big difference. You just bring something different to the table, and not everyone's perfect. So you got these players that their talent is amazing, but they make silly mistakes on the golf course, or one of their points of their game is not that strong, and you happen to notice that, so you drill it into them, and you're like, right, we need to work on this. And then just being out on the golf course, just
containing the emotions.
Yeah, I mean, if me and her go play together, and I'm worried about my game and she's worried about her game, I can see her getting upset and frustrated and stuff. But when I'm caddying for her, it's easy for me to calm her down and just basically tell her that the world's not going to end. It's fine, and then she gets over it and starts playing well again. So I'd say caddies probably bring like 40% of a player's game to them.
Really, hey, 40%. And your favorite golfer, or the golfer you respect the most?
Well, those are two very different questions. My favorite golfer is Tiger Woods, but
no, you're allowed to love him.
It's kind of hard to respect him for all the stuff that he's
done. And
Tiger's
that New Zealand caddy that Tiger had, they're not together anymore, are they?
No, they're not. But just quickly, that's actually a very good example. Tiger Woods and Steve Williams from New Zealand.
Yeah.
They won 14 majors together. And Adam Scott, who is from Australia, which most people know, was always up there in majors, and he couldn't seem to win a major. And that's what every golfer wants to do, is win a major. And so as soon as Steve Williams and Tiger broke up, Adam Scott asked Steve Williams if he could come caddy for him, and within like a year of him, not even a year, within 6 months of Stevie being on Adam's bag, he won the Masters,
Yeah.
And so that just proves to you right there that, a caddy brings, just something new to the table, and different mind games and stuff like that they play to help them get the job done.
Sure. And now, I mean, is this a long-term thing? Are most caddies, what's the general age of caddies? What do you see for your future?
I don't know. I mean, caddying's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of the guys that I see out there are, it's hard to have a family life and a stable life.
Yeah, and traveling the whole time.
Yeah, so I don't foresee myself caddying like too much into the future. I would like to move on and use my degree in some sort of way.
But you've seen the world, you've had the experience.
Yeah, but there are caddies there that just love the caddy life, that aren't interested in having a family or anything like that, or maybe they do, and their family's okay with them being away. But there's caddies out there that are 50, 60 years old still, and they've been out there for 30, 40
And that's
years.
their life.
And that's their life, and they love it. So, but yeah, no, I don't think that's gonna be me.
That's not for you.
No.
Yeah, it is a huge sacrifice, especially
Yeah.
all that time away from
Yeah,
home.
it is.
All right, well, I wish you all the best.
Oh,
Like,
thank
it's
you.
been great to chat to you. And I think, yeah, you've lived a very unique lifestyle for the last 3 years. And I think, yeah, I guess I'm sure there's sacrifices involved, but I think the life experience will be worth it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It was great.
Cool. That's Mark Kourie, caddy on the LPGA.
Visual radio.
Radio like you've never seen it before.
Balls.co.za